Słuchasz podcastu Angielski z Konradem. Nowe odcinki każdego tygodnia. Jeśli chcesz popracować nad płynnością, nabrać odwagi do konwersacji, skorygować często popełniane błędy bądź poznać skuteczne metody nauki, ta audycja jest dla Ciebie. Remember, you're not at school, so chill out, kick back and enjoy yourself. Let's begin. Witaj w kolejnym odcinku. Zanim zaczniemy, pozwól, że pokrótce przypomnę, jak możesz wykorzystać mój podcast. Jeżeli czujesz się pewnie ze swoim angielskim, wystarczy, że przesłuchasz audycji. Dla tych z Was, którzy potrzebują odrobiny pomocy, pamiętajcie o notatkach do odcinka. Zatrzymuj podcast, przejrzyj notatki, w razie potrzeby powtórz nagranie. Zapisz się do newslettera za pośrednictwem strony angielskiskonradem.pl, by otrzymać natychmiastowy dostęp do notatek z tego i wszystkich poprzednich odcinków. Dostaniesz również powiadomienia o nowych odcinkach. Jeżeli masz pytania, uwagi bądź sugestie, skontaktuj się ze mną za pośrednictwem adresu angielskiskonradem@gmail.com bądź za pośrednictwem fanpage'a Angielski z Konradem na Facebooku. Switching to English.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm your humble host, Konrad. I hope you enjoy the show. Alright, let's begin with some vocabulary. Spot on. Spot on. W punkt. Nitpick. Nitpick. Narzekać na coś. Szukać dziury w całym. How to. How to. Samouczek. Well read. Well read. Oczytany. All knowing. All knowing. Wszechwiedzący. I was browsing papers in Empik out of boredom the other day when a certain magazine caught my eye. It was Newsweek, of course, but neither your regular kind nor some international edition. So here I am, at home, browsing through my copy of Learning English with Newsweek, and I'd like to share my honest thoughts about it. Quick disclaimer, this podcast is not supported or endorsed by Newsweek's publisher in any way. Having that out of the way, let's begin. First of all, I'd like to mention a few things about the cover itself. After all, according to various theories in psychology, publishers have only few seconds to catch an eye of the potential buyer. So here you are, Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, lovingly staring into each other. That wasn't the thing that caught my attention, though. A small Statue of Liberty in front of the American flag did. The cover maybe didn't work the way it was intended to, and maybe I'm strange, but it served its purpose. After all, I've got the magazine in my hands, and I didn't steal it. The magazine covers a broad range of topics, including business, culture, medicine, science, and technology. In addition, you get 2 months of Tidal, a streaming service similar to Spotify, completely free of charge. Apparently, all you need to do is sign up to the service and redeem the code NLETIDAL. I'll spell it out for you. NLETIDAL. Use it while it's valid. So, what stories are covered in this particular issue? Here's a very brief summary of a few of them. Controversial musician couples. That's a summary of infamous couples who got not only intoxicated by their love of music, but also with themselves. If you are interested in popular culture in the slightest, you'll find no surprises. The article covers Sid Vicious and Nancy Sprugen, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears, Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, among others. Class of 2020.
The article deals with this year's college seniors and the challenges they are about to face in the wake of COVID pandemic. These are followed by 7 tips on how to make the most of your second decade on planet Earth. I Pastafari. A summary of the world's most popular mock religion, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. It's funny how the worshippers of the loose cannon even put colanders on their heads when they take photos for their IDs. Liberalism is dead. A history piece about American politics then and now. It presents a story of liberalism, a political system which puts individual freedom on a pedestal, and how it shaped the illusion of the American dream. There are a few more articles, and as you may expect, they vary not only in terms of subjects tackled, but also in terms of the level of difficulty. Let's turn a few pages to the how-to section. How to learn with our magazine. The rough edges begin to show, unfortunately. First of all, we are asked to download the app in order to get the full learning experience. I'm immediately turned off. First of all, it's another thing to do before you begin to learn. It's a chore. Second, the app is a glorified QR code scanner. Every exercise type is briefly explained. It's your usual bag of tricks for the most part. Find information in the text, answer the questions in your own words, and so on and so forth. It's a bit lazy, to be honest. More on that in a minute. I was surprised that articles are written in a manner very similar to my notes, which you can download by subscribing to my newsletter. You've got the text itself, with more complicated words written in bold font, translations on the margins. Great minds think alike, I guess. Then again, it's a quite common way to present a foreign text in such a way, books for example. The articles are divided by the level of proficiency using an outdated, in my humble opinion, CEFR scale, from A, beginner, A1, A2, through B, intermediate, B1, B2, to C, C1, C2, proficient. Such a scale is superficial and it doesn't really matter. The level of proficiency in that case is determined by insufficient criteria. For example, you can be very proficient in reading, not as much in writing, great at listening, but not so much again in speaking. I recommend you not to pay too much attention to it. All the stories are apparently written by native speakers of English. The magazine claims that all articles within are taken directly from the American edition of Newsweek. While I found it holds some truth in some cases, some journalists were nowhere to be found. The stories covered in the magazine are also available free of charge at the American Newsweek webpage, which begs the question, why should I pay for this? So basically, you are paying for exercises. No wonder they felt the need to sweeten the deal with 2 months of title. Then again, if you exclude the cost of the magazine, it's 1 month. After reading a particular article, you are tasked with completing a few exercises I mentioned before briefly. I like the idea of checking your own work. If you are cheating, the only person you are fooling is yourself. Now, about the tasks. I feel that the exercises included are a mixed bag. As I said before, I feel that the exercises included are a mixed bag. I appreciate the fact that there are no grammar drills included. That's excellent. It's funny how more and more teachers of English are waking up to the fact that studying grammar serves no purpose for most people. Sure, maybe you want to satisfy your morbid curiosity, or you're a teacher. The rest of us can learn a necessary grammar by reading, listening, watching videos, and finally by producing, writing and speaking. Recording exercises are a great idea. Listening to yourself speaking a foreign language helps you pinpoint any pronunciation mistakes and significantly aids you with your fluency. Translation exercises are fine as well, but I have a problem with the intention. They say that they are meant to make you think in English. Don't you think in both languages when you translate or interpret something from one language to another? Don't get me wrong, this is what you should be aiming for, being able to think in English. If you are able to develop such a switch in your brain, the words begin to flow naturally, seamlessly. Translation may help you in getting used to the words, but it will hinder you on your way to fluency. When it comes to discussing and group exercises, I think they completely miss the point of buying a magazine to learn English by yourself at your own leisure. Perhaps I'm nitpicking, but the less steps you have to take in order to begin learning, the better. Not only are you expected to download an app, but now you also need to find another human being willing not only to listen to you, but also come forth with their own ideas. That's only my guess, but won't most people buy the magazine to learn by themselves? The worst part is coming up. Brace yourselves, we've got song-related exercises. I've dedicated an entire episode to that topic, but let me say it again. Learning English from music is a road to nowhere. Even natives have problems with understanding English songs in their entirety, so that speaks volumes about the matter. Let's wrap up with some positives. The magazine is very nicely printed. The graphics layout is spot on. Clear, legible, nice looking. If you ignore the problems mentioned above, it's easy to get into and begin learning. The selection of articles is also commendable. I wouldn't go as far as to say they invoked a passionate emotional response as the publisher had hoped, but they were mostly engaging. The article that I was mostly curious about was about the Pastafarian, and it didn't disappoint. Is it ultimately worth the asking price of 20 zlotys? I think you may get a lot of mileage out of the series. If you come across it while browsing press at the newsagents, killing time before your train departs, go ahead and buy a copy. However, if you have such an opportunity, I'd rather buy the real thing, the international edition, if I were you. Look, I'm no all-knowing oracle, so don't treat my words as some kind of gospel. According to my experience, the best way to learn is being unaware of the fact that you are learning English. That's how I got proficient, and that's how you can get proficient as well. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time. In case you had forgotten, here's the revision of vocabulary for this episode with some example sentences. You will find the sentences along with their translations at the very end of your notes. You will hear each sentence twice. Let's begin. Spot on. Spot on. W punkt. I'm not going to lie, his criticisms were spot on. I'm not going to lie, his criticisms were spot on. Nitpick. Nitpick. Narzekać na coś, szukać dziury w całym. I don't mean to nitpick, but a tracksuit isn't the best choice of clothing for an audience with the Pope.
I don't mean to nitpick, but a tracksuit isn't the best choice of clothing for an audience with the